Great.
Well, how could you, I don't understand, that is amazing how it goes. Cause she didn't send a Zoom link if she could do it.
Hello, hello. Am I on?
Yes, you are, but Philip says he needed the link. Do you have, how did you get your link?
Angie just sent it to me momentarily.
Okay, did Philip get it?
I think he should have gotten it just with the same time I did. I asked her to send it.
To him too?
Yeah, so I expect he's gotten it.
Well, he asked me to please remind Angie to email the link for Zoom. And that was at 9:24.
Okay.
Okay.
I think he should be getting it momentarily. So let's see. All right.
Man. Okay, yeah, but I think he just hadn't gotten it. I like the little color in your hair.
All right, let's see.
You did end up getting that car. The last, yeah. Oh, it's Maggie's on.
I'm going to forward this Zoom link to Philip.
Okay, but I just emailed him and told him that
Oh, okay.
you can go ahead and do it, but
All right.
Josh was just saying you can easily go on the website.
Okay.
There's a maintenance man who will be working on my home today and he had to be there.
Okay, I just sent him a copy of the link. So maybe he'll get that. And did you send me a picture of the agenda, Grace?
Oh, I haven't. I'll do it right now.
Okay.
Oh, Brad's gonna do it. Send it to you.
Okay. And Philip too, that would be good.
Yay. Hi, Philip.
Hey, I'm finally on. I had some problems.
I think Brad's sending y'all
Hello.
an agenda.
Oh, hey, Maggie.
Hello, Philip. Think about this message. It's going from Upper Graybeard to the sky, back down.
Yeah.
Through
And I
cyber amazing
just
things.
got off FaceTime with my daughter at the Eiffel Tower with her family in
Oh,
Paris. They were sitting at a cafe. Isn't that incredible?
lovely. We should all transport there.
I know. So what are we waiting for?
Well, we were waiting for you guys, maybe Jane. And I'm working to send you materials that I brought here, but since you're not here, I'm gonna have to send you just a picture of it.
The agenda, yeah, and you could read the minutes later, Maggie, I bet.
Yes.
Then we could get that done. Is Daniel or Barry coming?
All right. I've got to step away for a minute. I think my maintenance man just arrived. Oh, I'll be right back.
Okay. So you drove the new car. What kind is it again? Yeah, Sweet Jane, I haven't talked to her. She's so much better with her hip. I mean, she's in good shape. Even.
Maggie and Philip,
Philip went to see his maintenance man.
you should have my message that's got the agenda. You should have my message. It has the agenda and an outline.
Okay, thanks.
See that, or
Oh, and Jane said she didn't get an email about the meeting, so she didn't. Jane's responding to me. I'll tell her.
All right, let's see here. Okay, yeah, I got it, Brad.
Oh, she has a doc. She says, I didn't get an email from Brad and scheduled an unexpected doctor's appointment today. Nope. Well, we didn't get one either. But this week, I mean, last week. It's what I think is what she's going, she's back in the attendance. So he was just a sub. For her when she was out. Mhm.
he wasn't, you know.
Oh, I didn't know you talked to him this week and so.
No, I talked to him last month when he was here.
Oh, okay.
I asked him what the deal was. And
He wasn't sure either. Huh?
The town staff are not there.
Josh is here. But nobody else.
You want me to go get Ben? Jane is in a doctor's appointment. She just texted me. She hadn't gotten an email that we were having a meeting, so I think that she didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the agenda.
Great. Maggie, are you with us?
She's on.
I see her, but I can't.
Maggie, can you hear us? You need to take off your mute, Maggie. Mute.
Bottom left.
There.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Good.
All right. Woohoo.
Thank you. Ben's in a meeting.
Okay. So there are two of us online and two of us present. And I think we can say that we have a quorum. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. And let's take a moment and center ourselves. Okay. So first item on the agenda is adopting the agenda. And I did not have any input for this, so I put in the things that I could think of. But if anybody has any additions, now would be the time to bring it forward. Okay, so I'll.
Move the exception, move the acceptance of the minute, of the agenda.
So it's been moved. I don't think a second is required. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So, approval of minutes. We have a backlog of minutes that have been prepared and, not approved. I'm not sure where we stand with the minutes from our last meeting. So do we have any minutes to consider, Maggie?
I have the April minutes, which I have on my, I could send you right now, or we could, and the June minutes are ready also. The July minutes are not ready. Would you like to postpone one more time and do them all next time? Because they're just about finished, and I could send them all to everybody before the next meeting.
Yeah, I'd like to see them.
Yes,
I don't think we can approve things that we haven't seen.
no. So I'd like to move the postponement of the minutes once more, knowing that it will be within this week that you will get copies of all that are ready.
Good.
Okay,
So we might need a second to that motion.
Second.
so it's been moved and seconded to postpone approval of minutes until next month.
Yes, good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, I guess for the purposes of the moment, Josh, you're the public. Do you have any comment?
By the way, George Sawyer just texted me. He's on. He said he's listening, and can you bring George in? He's a public person. Can you see him on there? Oh, okay. You can just listen, George, if you hear me. But we can put you on. He doesn't need to be on the screen. Sorry. That's true. That's a good statement. It's a correct statement.
Okay, so moving down to reports. Chair. There's not a lot of report that I have to make, partly in connection with the business of the day, which is largely the Tree City application. At the last meeting, Daniel was here and Barry wasn't. Daniel was going to be out of town for a week or so, but my understanding was that after they were both back, they would confer about a date for an Ivy League event. But nobody contacted me about that. So one way or the other, that has not been scheduled. We had thought that we might get something in at the last of this month. Assuming that weather is still permitting, I think it would be a good idea to consider doing Ivy League again next month. let's, but we'll come back to that in a little bit. So I want to, I want to make a comment, about doing business. You know, I apologize. I didn't send out messages to people this month. Frankly, I, I didn't have anything to send, other than the outline. I made the erroneous assumption that everybody would be here. And so I brought things with me, to share. We'll try to deal with that as we go along. I think, and Maggie, please don't take this as criticism.
I deserve it.
When I was,
No doubt, no doubt.
when I was doing the secretary job, I also took a while to get minutes together. But now I'm in this road, and I used to think that, well, it's okay to have it, you know, in time to get them approved for the next time. But I'm thinking of minutes as more and more as a tool that we could use. You know, if we'd all had our minutes in hand, we could have looked at the bottom of the page and seen that the date is today. Yeah,
It's also helpful to just sit right down after the meeting and do it. And I know this, and I will
it's not.
try. I will try to do that.
It's not easy to do, and I don't know how that.
Well, it's as easy as you determined to do it. So now that it's post-COVID almost, maybe we'll have energy to do it properly. I hope so.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm also trying to say that, I mean, another good tool that we have is the recordings that are done each time.
Yes.
Working through those is good, and so that makes it, the whole thing, a little bit dependent upon when those get posted. I know they get posted pretty promptly, but it is a factor. But things like, when is the next meeting, but also, you know, what did I agree to do? You know, in the course of the meeting, I say, oh, I'll do that, and I don't always remember everything. So the sooner I have those reminders, for me, that's the better. So
All right.
probably enough said on that. And it's in looking at the tree board application, you know, part of what you need to do is talk about how many members your committee has, and about the frequency of meetings, you know, questions like that. As I was thinking about, as I was working through this myself, I'm thinking, well, we're going to need to say something about, we really didn't have a full board, you know, for about half the year, and that's had an impact. And it's not, you know, I feel like with this year, we're, as a board, we're really in transition, and kind of getting into how we work together on this. And after the last couple of meetings in particular, I've been very encouraged by the energy that we're developing and all, and I want to try to maintain that momentum. So that's largely where my comments are coming from. We're coming up on the Tree City application, which is a major piece of thing that needs to be done each year. Anne, I think, was just so well versed in the whole thing, and the machine she ran smoothly, well oiled and all of that. I think a consequence of her doing most of the work on this each year was that the rest of us were not learning what's been done. So I'm taking the attitude that we all need to know about some of these major pieces. And so I'm wanting to do for us to look at the Tree City application together, which is what I have on the agenda for today, and see together what's involved, and then probably do some divvying up of who's gonna be focusing on what. That's an assumption on my part, but we'll see.
Do
So
you all have a copy of that at your house? Because this is the application outline. It was,
I sent the outline. I did hound out some copies of this last month, but I don't know how many people or who specifically got them. So I have other copies, which I don't know what would be the best way to get a copy into everybody's hands. Should I run them around to your house? Could you drop by the town hall and pick up a copy? Or what would be your preferences?
I'm happy to run by the town hall and pick up copies for both Maggie and me.
And Grace, we all right up here within.
no. I have one at my house that I picked up last week. Last month. But I picked up one now, and I can drop them to y'all. I can bring them up to you today.
Is it
That'd be-
multiple pages?
Yes. And I've never seen, well, my tree,
Yeah, I'll tell more about what it is, but yes, it is multiple pages.
and I've never in my 2 years done anything as a board member in this application other than turning in work hours, which is what I think Brad was just saying, that Ann Benson has done this all in the past with the help of obviously Barry and Daniel.
Yeah,
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves just a little bit, because I'm expressing some assumptions that I've made that the board may not entirely agree with me. So how to approach it is part of what we'll need to be getting clear of. We'll come, I think, let's talk about that in a few minutes. So I think that's kind of it for my report at the moment. So Jane is not here today. We don't have a council liaison. Ben is in a meeting, so we don't hear from here, and I don't see Barry or Daniel, so we don't have a report from them. I will contact Barry and talk to him about Tree City, and I guess, well, we have Ivy League coming up next, so I'll pass that. So is there anything else that would be categorized as a report? Things that you've been doing? I should have an item there for just reporting.
I guess we could report just very briefly that we had a nice presence at the meeting. People walked by and saw what we were doing, and I think that was accomplished.
You broke up a little bit, so I'm not sure what meeting you're talking about.
Cottagers.
Cottagers meeting, that we had a nice presence there. That was one of the things we planned in July.
Yeah, and thank you for being there and manning the table. That was
Okay, so that was accomplished. This is a good thing. Okay.
so old business. That brings us back to Ivy League. As I said, I will check with Barry about a meeting. Are we agreed that having an Ivy League event in September, weather permitting, would be a good thing to do?
Oh, I would agree, definitely, yes. If I'm in town, I'll definitely be there to work.
So I'll discuss some dates with Barry and let y'all know, and if the dates don't work for you, let me know. And we'll figure it out.
It needs to be brought to the public because we get a lot of public people there when they get, Montreat minutes or something catchy in the community announcements. This has to.
Yeah.
And I think Maggie, you were thinking you were going to be publicity. I'd be happy to help you with it.
Okay, we'll do that.
Is that too much for the two of us? I don't think every expectation, I can hold the bag, but I'm not getting down and being dirty. Maggie can't do it. So it would just be Brad and Philip at this point.
Yeah, we really, it has to be publicized,
Has
absolutely.
to be publicized. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll work on that, I promise.
And
Okay,
I'll work with you on it.
okay. Grace and Maggie, publicize. Put it down in,
I look forward to meeting with all you people in your scuzzies. So,
Okay, but you're going to give us the dates. So
Yeah.
Brad's going to get back to
right.
me and Maggie.
excellent.
Okay, grant for tree inventory, it's on there. But there's really nothing more to say at this point. I still haven't figured out what the forestry person. I need to talk to him about whether it makes any sense for us to be applying for a grant this year when we were denied last time and we still haven't done what I think we needed us to do. So I'll follow up on that.
Could I ask, I think that we had a discussion or it was brought up that maybe it was Daniel or Barry from the month before. We have not done what we said we were going to do. Is that what you're saying from the last tree? So we can't get one until we finish the,
That's the
2020?
information I have was. that,
yeah.
We had volunteers doing inventory and we produced, quite a long list of trees that needed attention. Then we got hit by COVID and that affected what we're able to do. So the town part of addressing the trees that we had already identified did not happen until actually earlier this year when they had enough space on their schedule that they were able to turn their attention to the trees, mostly trees along Assembly Drive and up Grayville, which is my understanding is now mostly taken care of. I don't know that they're completely done on it. But when we filed a request for additional funds on inventory, two things have changed. One thing had changed and one thing had not changed. The thing that had changed was that they're really wanting us to hire tree companies, professionals to do the inventory. It wasn't so much a matter of the quality of it, but it's sort of more of the efficiency of it. We can get a company that can come in and do the inventory wherever we say we need it. And then we'll be in a position to, number two, hire somebody to do the work. Assuming we have funds. So we were then not granted the funds for doing the inventory last year, and nothing has really changed since then. We still haven't completed all of the trees that we previously done. So I'm making the assumption that that we still need to finish that list before we can move ahead with it. And but I need to talk to the state person to make sure that I'm making the correct assumption.
So Brad's taking responsibility to apply for the grant if needed and have that communication back to us.
I'll clarify on what's needed.
Yeah.
Get back.
Good.
All right, yay.
So I don't, know, just so everybody kind of is on the same page on that. What we had talked about was there are different sections of the town kind of previously divided up for various different purposes. And what we'd be doing is being asking the company to look at the town section by section and submit probably sort of an itemized approach. I don't know that we'd do the whole thing at once, but at least they would be able to say, here's what it costs to do these different parts. And maybe well, this is what it would cost to do the whole thing. But anyway, have that input from the professional group, and then we'll be able to proceed. But doing it would not all be done at one time, but section by section. We'll have some input on what sections are our priorities for the towns.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Assign us our jobs, Mr. Chair, for the Tree City application.
so what I want to do is to go through the application and for all of us to get familiar with it. And so I'm going to go through the application, not necessarily item by item, but the parts that we
Yeah, hit the highlights, but yeah, I need to be able to really read it to know what's in it.
okay.
So
So
Grace is going to bring us some copies, right, Grace?
Yeah.
yeah, and you know, two things we could do when you get it, you can look it over, see if you have questions. To the extent that I'm able, I'd be happy to address whatever questions there are. We could actually also, if we wanted to, schedule some time to talk on a Zoom, for example, about how we're approaching it. But what I'm going to try to do is go through so that we at least have an idea of the kind of things that need to be on there and how it's a fairly occupied, I mean, a fairly busy document. Is that dog, Maggie?
Yeah, I'll go close my door, or I could mute myself, but I don't know exactly how to do that. Oh, here. Okay. Wait a minute.
Well,
Anyway.
if you see the little microphone, you touch the
I
mic.
do. I do. I got it. Now, goodbye, dogs. Okay.
Okay, so still hear that's okay. We can live with it. So what you have or will have is the populated form from 2021. This is what we sent in last year and got the approval. The blank forms are not yet available because they had said that they would not have them until September, and we're not quite in September. As soon as they're available, I'll make them available to everybody. But I looking through the copies that we have on file, it doesn't really change year to year. So you can make the assumption that what you will get eventually is pretty much what you'll get this week. So submission form. First section is a major or equivalent information, a mayor or equivalent information. So Tim Helms, mayor, contact information for the mayor. Then there's the city forestry contact, and that's who it is from the town that's the contact, and that would be me. On this one, you see Ann, but that'll be replaced by information about me. Okay, so then they have the series of standards that we're expected to comply with. And standard 1 is a tree board or department. So we're supposed to have a tree board or department. So we know we have a tree board. And what they want to know is who the chair is and how many members there are and who the board members are. So so that would be my information as chair. Then we'll have board member. We've got Maggie and Philip as
At large.
members at large. Me and Maggie and Philip are the 3 at large members of the board. Then we have the 2 members that are pre-selected, I guess that's the word. With the chair of land care committee being one of those. She's sitting here beside me, and the other person being the environmental commissioner and that'll be Jane. So those are that would be the board that we send to them. So standard number 2 is community tree ordinance. And we have a tree ordinance. It's all actually already on file. And so far as I know, there hasn't been any change in the past year. I think everybody would know if we've made changes in the tree ordinance in the last year. So basically that part will be, as you will see, will be pretty much the same, just saying, yes, we have an ordinance. It's already on file with Tree City. Okay. Number 3 gets to be a bit more involved. Standard 3 is a community forestry program with an annual budget of at least $2 per capita. So we'll need to have a figure for the per capita of Montreat, and 967 is the figure on the last year's thing. I don't know what changes there would be, but we'll need to get that figure.
That's the population you're saying. It's
Yeah.
967. Most all of this is in the community-based, town. All these, you have to go and it says click here, qualify, and it seems like this has to have a town. Barry Creasman's, all this is so far, it's just been those things the town administration does. Unless you're
There's a lot of it that the town does do. I think there are some things where some of us need to get involved.
That's where we need to go to that point for them.
And I think the staff has pretty much got a handle on that, and we've always had way more than we needed. So it's not a big concern. It's just a matter of collecting the documented hours that people have spent.
Yeah, that's over in the volunteer, in that standard, over the volunteer time. Utility
Okay.
clearance, management, tree removal, that's all under the Department of the Public Works.
Okay, and then it's part of this.
I want to remind y'all that what we're
Three.
is we're making ourselves familiar with this.
Yes, that,
Because I want everybody to be able to pick up on this job and get it done, you
Well,
know.
Maybe
Uh,
we could just wait until next, of course, it's, if they haven't read it, if we haven't had an assignment to read this before,
But you did. I gave it out last month and with the assignment that it be done. You know,
Oh.
that you look over it. And that was the expectation I had. I brought extra copies in case people didn't remember to bring theirs, but what I'm trying to do is to
we need to do our homework that some of us failed to do. Yes.
I may be going through this with maybe in too fine a way, but I really think it's important to know what's in there and what we need to do. We'll need to have somebody get the figure for the population. Well, one thing to note, and I don't know why they do that, but they don't want special characters and things. So example, at the top of page 4 out of 9, there's the figure 205.25. That's a dollar amount. But they don't want us to put a dollar symbol there. So every place that there would be a dollar amount, there is none. And they give us, on volunteer times, number of hours. They don't want decimal amounts of hours. They want full hours. And I think it's going to be minutia like that they look at to say whether we've done our job or not.
Oh my, life is strange in these days. My. But we can do it.
Yeah.
well, this has been done by has to have one person that collects the data and the population, I can do that. I turned in my hours. That's the last 2 years. That's what our board has done is what our volunteer hours. Now,
Right.
okay, so that's where we are right now.
I think we need to talk with the staff people that have helped us with this in the past. I remember vaguely someone saying, oh, we can get that together easily. We'll just collect what people have sent us. And it always turns out to be way more than we need. I'm not sure who that would be on the staff, but maybe we can find out and get that done.
So you see that then for standard 3, there are these numbers that we'll need to update to make sure that
Right.
that we
Right.
know. It's not a difficult task. I think that it's good practice for us to be getting familiar with what's in here. And so I think that having more than one person working on, if one person took responsibility for standard 3, another took responsibility for standard 4, I think that can help us with the sense of what needs to be done. And it mostly is standards 3 and 4. The budget information, the expenses and things, Barry is the main resource for that, I think.
It'd be good to have Ann on a Zoom meeting with us, and I think she would give us some guidance if this is something that you said that she's done. And if you have never been part of the application process, Brad, other than what I've done is turn over hours.
I've helped her a little bit
Uh-huh.
at one point, but I did not have a complete picture of things. Yeah, with my thought here is we, between now and our next meeting, we work on gathering the information for the next application. By then, we will have the blank applications available. And the thought is that then, if there's things that we're stumped by, then I think that would be the time that
That's good.
Anne could help us with that. I'm looking at a sort of a deadline of sometime in probably mid-November to submit it. And so that it can be submitted, and then usually the acceptance stuff comes through sometime in December, early December. One,
Good.
I'm not. Well, there's the financial worksheet. There's the annual work plan. And this is not something that I was familiar with, but apparently that's a state requirement that the town have a work plan for addressing tree issues. So, and I don't know if that would make some sense that they'd be updated each year. So. Any questions about 3? No.
I'm going to be able to really follow. I'm having a little trouble not having the document in front of me following all of this. So once I get the documents, it'll be a lot easier for me to know what's going on here.
Yes.
I think the, maybe in your minutes, you have that recorded as for an assignment, but I'm just out of my mind, just went out of I read this, but the fact that I have not had a participation of going online or seeing this application, and it says a click here, you have, this is a very complicated document, and it appears that mostly the Public Works has clearly done it, because it tells you how much money you have to spend for public education, membership, tree inventories, ordinance development and revisions, all the money you spend on that management, utility line clearance, which is, I mean, this is just a document that is very hard for us to have a discussion, Brad, unless we all have it in our hands. And I would like to either have a Zoom meeting next week, or have something that we can all be on the same page, and have a staff person with us, have our council member with us, because I think we're kind of just, I feel for the people on the screen who don't have a copy. I don't know how to resolve that. Maybe by making a motion that we table this until we get another time to meet. Is that how you're feeling from what I can hear from you, Philip?
Yes. I'm just having trouble following all of this or knowing what's, yeah. I just need to see the document and read it.
Okay, what I want to do is quickly go through a couple more pages, and then we'll decide what to do. Standard 4 is Arbor Day observation and proclamation. We did that. We had a proclamation, we had an Arbor Day, so we can document that. That's not.
Check that off. Good.
That was last year's. That was 2021. This is for 2022. This is.
Yes. We did that at the
It was
plant center.
and it was canceled. Yeah, that's in here. It says it's
So
canceled.
looking at the 2021 report,
Right.
I'm talking where it's relevant. I'm talking about what we have done this year. We did have an Arbor Day this year. We did have a proclamation, so it won't be a problem to get that information.
I beg to differ, but Brad, this is 2022, and we're coming up on the September. A year ago, it was canceled. So we need to have an Arbor Day for 2022. Is that correct? 2021, we didn't have, this is 2020, this is just this is what was done for 2021. And then we're
But-
now,
Haven't we done some, didn't we do something at the plant sale this year?
it was a native plant sale.
But it
Last
it was
sale, our
hard.
thing, our mayor got up there and read the.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So that, we need to put that as the date that, yeah, you,
Yes, it needs to be updated.
yeah,
Well,
I
when-
got you.
When we have the form for the 2022, then we'll put the 2022 information in there.
Fine.
But I'm trying to say,
That's-
be familiar with what's there.
Update. That's good.
That's good.
Okay, so we have this information. It's just going to be a matter of pulling it together and, getting out on the page. On the following page, the annual work plan for North Carolina required. As I've looked through that, we'll all do this when we have it, but as I've looked through it, I don't think there's going to be any changes in that about what parts of this page are relevant for this report. So it's just going to be a matter of getting the check boxes in the right places.
I like Grace's idea of getting everybody a copy of this and then reconsidering it all in our September meeting.
No,
It's where
I
we'll
d-
be up.
I disagree with waiting till September. We need to be working on this right away. As soon as we have the form, we need to be working on it. And,
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and so if we need to do an extra meeting, then we can decide to do that. What I'm trying to do at this moment is just finish a quick work through so we all have an idea of what the basic pieces is. We have a financial worksheet. That's 6 pages long. This is a piece where we'll get the information mostly again from Public Works. Because a lot of their budget is included in this. The bottom line here is $84,000. Certainly know that amount of money doesn't go through this board, but it's the figures are basically going to come from Barry. But I think we all need to kind of be aware of what's involved in this that we're working with. It is actually a much more complicated thing that's going on that this board is supposed to have its finger on, that we're supposed to be familiar with. And I think doing this process together will really help us all get on the same page about what we need to do, paying attention to what we need to do.
Sounds good to me. Yes, indeed.
Part of what they're asking about is volunteer hours, and volunteers at the plant sale is one thing that we've always used for that. Couple of years we've used the Ivy League as source of volunteers, and there's other incidental things that can happen through the year. And I don't know that I know everything that has happened during the year that we could be considered volunteer. But one part of it is when you get out and trim your trees at home, that can be data for volunteer stuff that you do. And I'm not sure what, Grace, do you know where the data? Because we have historically reported um, hours that we've done for our own yard stuff. And
I've never seen an inventory from the public. I think that would be terribly hard to do unless you've done a survey, but my participation is, which is what Ann asked, is from my experience with, the land care committee and the volunteer hours, and I counted those up and, including maybe the task for the native plant sale or the Arbor Day. Apparently, it looks like Ann has kept all the records for the Arbor Day because she has the articles, the education listed here. So, other than the announcement, and, I don't know how many or who was required. It needs to have the person participating knowing that they're going to be reporting that and keeping good records, but I don't know of anyone who recorded it from the tree board. It was never told to do it other than giving the mayor his proclamation.
I think
I
people,
think the Firewise people have turned in a lot of hours.
It's all the things that are related to the environment, and that's what I've turned in from, and the Firewise is under our umbrella. Yeah.
Okay, so that's part of land care. That's good. That's a lot of hours. And some of that's private, raking your yard and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah,
they
so
have their,
that's it, and so we can use those figures
Yes.
as well. We'll need somebody to have that conversation with Firewise people.
So land care is accumulating all those numbers. Is that correct, Gracie?
I accumulated what we participated in particular the native plant sale with the number of volunteers, and with Martha Campbell, she has that record. And that's what I was specifically asked. I had nothing to do with anything else in this application. It was mostly the staff working with Ann or whoever is going online to have to click it into here and put your information is. That's Brad's responsibility to have all this information given to him. And
Oh, okay.
because we don't go to the computer, Brad does that. Right, Brad?
Probably, yes.
Well, that's what Ann was retrieving information from us, and that's my experience with land care.
Right. And I think that's probably something like that is the way it'll work. Again, I think
So we need to work on compiling those hours from various and sundry sources, including land care and others that have been listed in the past. Does that sound a summary of what we're saying?
basically,
Compile and enter.
part of my difficulty in doing this is that, months ago, I was wanting us to get started on working on these things. But when I went online with Tree City, this was not available. This information was not
Right.
available. And it's still not available at this point. I checked just a couple of days ago, not until September, I gather. So,
So we're getting ready a little ahead of time, which is a great thing. Yes, and the real work will come once these papers come out, right? To start filling it in.
So, but it finally occurred to me that, I looked and we had the stuff from the previous years, and I thought that we wouldn't be able to do the work, but if we could at least be getting familiar with what needs to be done. So, that, it's a lot of little niggly things that need to be done, and some fairly major things like reporting the budgets. At the same time, it's really pretty straightforward in getting it done. I don't think that there's anything there that we're not going to be able to take care of pretty easily. Once we all have it in hand. So my idea then is that, given where we're at with this, everybody, you're right, everybody needs to have a copy in hand. And should we schedule ourselves a conference of, to answer questions, to decide exactly how we're gonna go forward with this? Should we schedule ourselves, in a couple of weeks to the time to do that? And go,
So our next meeting is the 27th of September, so sometime before that it would be helpful. And the sooner, I sense your need, Brad, to do it, the sooner the better. So maybe early September.
well, if they hold true to their word, they will not be able to work on the application and get a blank copy of it until September.
Okay,
And yes, if we able to get the form, access to the form, then I think it'll be, makes sense to go ahead and divvy up whatever divvying up we need to do. And I am prepared to do a lot of that, but I also think it's good that everybody has some familiarity with it.
yeah, we need to do that too.
So I would, again, the assumption that the form will be available. Well, even if we don't have the form, I think we'll at least have the content, and by then you would have been able to look at the last year's application and get an idea yourselves about what.
Yeah.
So we can schedule then something in early September to come back to this.
It would be,
Sounds-
it would be helpful to have a staff person that's worked on it. If Brad has not worked with Ann before, then, and I didn't, I just turned in my hours. The request in the past 3 years is just turning in your hours to her. And whatever, if she's created this document, we need to have her as a good resource person. I really help. I think that we need some leadership and guidance in this, because this is
Yeah, she's,
that's all I know. It's just like we're going around the bush again. And I hate to say that, I mean, we can have a Zoom meeting next week, but if we don't even have the application, we know what's available. We know what the Arbor Day was. And as a tree board chair, you can certainly write that one up. And I can get the native plant sale volunteers, which is what I've done in the past. But other than that, I don't know anything about, it's the staff that fills a lot of this in. And I think we needed Barry here as well as, Ann. That's all I'm saying. And if-
let's try to do something the week of the 14th, which is 2 weeks before our next meeting. And maybe we can round up people and get a date to do it. Then I will take charge of figuring out the date sometime the second week of September. And we'll have staff and Ann and us there. How does that sound? But the date will be, we'll have to see a lot of input from people of when they're available. Maybe we can try for Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
So anyway, let me check with the staff about when they could meet with us that second week of September.
I don't know that we really need to pull staff in to have this conversation among ourselves about.
Okay, all right.
Well, so Brad, would you talk to the staff and report back what they do, how they participate, what they contribute? That's what we need to know. We don't know how all this information is given. Do we go to someone? Who do we go to? I think that's why we have a staff person sitting on tree board to give us a good, and they're not here. So I'm kind of frustrated. I'm feeling, it probably sounds so in my voice, but
I understand. And it's been frustrating for me to not have stuff to work with for the last 2 or 3 months on this. I again, I'll talk to Ann and see what she thinks. I'm pretty sure that she would be willing to help us out.
How hard would it be
Yeah.
for us?
Really,
How hard-
it is really a fairly straightforward job. We just need to get clarity on what the job is. And,
How, how hard would it be for us to have a copy of last year's application? So we could look at it and mark, we need to update this, just in. I would like
so,
that, look
so-
through it.
so
with a pen.
just as a reminder, I've handed out copies last month.
Last,
Last month,
This is the one we have here right now.
and
all right,
reading,
bring it.
it's the same, what I've been reading from is the same thing that I,
Oh, well, all right, so that's good.
let me-
That's-
I'm saying, it's the same thing that I passed out last month. And as I understand, Gracie, you said you would drop copies off?
I can get the two, yeah,
I could do
yeah.
that.
I can get that.
All
So,
right, go from there as
so
far,
so soon you will have them in your hand. What I would want to ask of everybody is, as you read through it, as you familiarize with yourself, ask yourself, so what small piece of this is something I could take on, would be willing to take off? You know, and then when we get together, we can see where we're at with that.
sounds perfect.
The week of the 14th is, to me, getting a little bit far into the month. But it's up to, it's up to the group if we need that much time. Fine, we're not gonna have a final product at this meeting. That's actually time to make our plan, so.
Brad, go ahead as the chair and set up a date and get the members that are needed, the staff and Ann, and we'll be there. We'll try our best if we can. I just don't. I think we need some,
Commitment for a date
yeah,
would be good.
yeah.
Yes,
And as chair, you have that right to go ahead and schedule a Zoom next week or whenever you think. And if we're available, and let's make it an hour of that time and have some preparation before that as to who needs to do, there's a whole section that's a state requirement that only the town and the Public Works Department fills out. The hours is right now, the only thing I know I can do as a person.
that sounds like a good idea, Grace. I like that. Yes,
So we'll let you decide, Brad, when you want to do it.
that's good. Let us know. And meanwhile, we'll go over this stuff that Grace is going to get us and be ready. All right, that's
So-
good.
So the 5th is Labor Day. The 6th is, and on my schedule, is pretty open. As is the 7th, so. I personally, I would prefer doing it that week, but if that doesn't work for people, then we can think about the following week.
I'd suggest you, if we think it's important to have Barry's input or someone in the staff, it would be Ben, it's just a staff person should be with us to listen to this, I guess. Or whoever has helped Ann in the past, right?
I would like that. I certainly would.
I'll talk to Barry, see what he can do.
Did he have, did you talk to Daniel or Barry before this week? I mean, for his report for this today, because they
Didn't
didn't,
have
did he say they didn't? Okay.
a, So. So I'm gonna say tentatively, let's go for Tuesday, the 6th.
Actually, I can do it on the 7th, but I'll be traveling back from being with family on Labor Day on the 6th.
Okay,
But I could do it on the 7th. That would work. Wednesday. Any time of the day.
there is scheduled a land care meeting.
We're on, that's my land care time, Wednesday, the first Wednesday.
I
Okay,
could do it on Thursday, the 8th.
You could do it after land care meeting at 10. Oh, when it, Brad needs to look at the calendar. We don't, I have it on my,
I'm looking at calendar.
not
and-
your calendar, the town calendar.
So what I can tell you is on the 7th, there is a land care meeting. Tentatively on the 8th, there is a planning and zoning meeting scheduled at 10
right.
a.m. or 10:30 a.m.
Okay, I'm
How
thinking,
about after the land care meeting on Wednesday, the 7th?
Could be at 10 o'clock.
Let's go for that.
You can even come to the land care. No,
We could.
uh,
Y'all have refreshments? So,
I will.
Uh.
That might work, Brad.
Let's try
what I,
and wait.
what I've been trying to say is that I don't know that this is a meeting that is gonna be like a meeting. You know, it's gonna be a working minute where we follow. We decide today that we're gonna get together and decide who's gonna be doing what. parts
That's
of
what
it.
we were going to do this morning. It's like a workshop. We were doing that this morning, but we aren't prepared is what we're trying to say. So
Yeah,
that's
so-
what we were trying to
so
do
I-
today, right?
So I don't know that we need to have, I mean, I can run a Zoom from my house. And we can have everybody participate in that without having to involve staff time. or something.
We needs to have report, then you need to have a time to talk to the staff about what their requirements are or how they help out or who does what. It's,
Right, and
Yeah.
if it turns out that I'm in error about some of this stuff, then I'll get back to you.
sure.
So,
This looks
but,
like it was,
September 8th. At the end is what's being.
a Zoom meeting now, okay? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm talking about a Zoom meeting.
That would work for me.
Thursday,
Okay,
And so I will confirm who can be present from staff on that. And you can expect an invite from me for the Zoom meeting.
well, that sounds great.
I have a Zoom license myself, so.
oh, that's great. Great. B. And it looks like on this one is, they submitted it, must be a December 1 deadline because this was submitted 11/30 last year.
I remember
End
that.
of November, yeah.
I'm gonna have to break away. I've got a maintenance guy that's arrived to work on my house.
Yeah, it's already 10.
Are we about to finish up here?
I believe we have finished, actually, the things that. I just call your attention to item number 7 with the goal of submitting the thing in November. So that's kind of all on the same page. That's the time schedule we've set for ourselves.
Excellent.
Okay,
Okay. I'll be dropping
right.
these by your houses later this morning.
so notice
Thank you.
that the our next meeting is scheduled for September 27th. Usual time.
Sounds good. Meanwhile, see you sometime in September, the 8th, on a Zoom meeting.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, people.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.